She looked at me with that practiced, innocent expression she always wore when cornered. Her hands twisted nervously in her lap as she whispered, "I can't decide between you and him. You're just so insecure about it." For a moment, I just sat there, stunned. Insecure. That's what she thought this was. That my concern wasn't about the lies, the late-night texts, the sudden girls' nights that didn't add up. She thought I was paranoid. But something clicked in me right then. Maybe it was the months of suspicion, the countless excuses, or the gnawing gut feeling I had been suppressing. Instead of blowing up, instead of begging her to choose me, I smiled. "You're right," I said simply. Her eyes widened, confused by my calmness. She expected a fight, maybe even tears. She didn't expect me to agree. She definitely didn't expect what I did next. When she went to bed that night, muttering something about needing space to think, I stayed up. My hand shook a little as I scrolled through my contacts, but my decision was already made. If she couldn't choose between us, then maybe we'd both choose for her. The next afternoon, I called him the other man. His name had been buzzing around in my head for weeks, attached to late-night notifications and accidental mentions from her friends. I didn't call to scream at him or to threaten him. Instead, I invited him out. "Beer," I said casually, my voice steady. "I think we should talk about her." There was silence on the line, then a slow exhale. He agreed. That night, we met at a quiet bar downtown, the kind with dim lights and old wood that made conversations feel private. He was taller than I expected, dressed sharp, with the same wary look in his eyes that I probably had. We shook hands like uneasy allies, then sat across from each other. For a while, we didn't say much, just two men nursing beers, sizing each other up. "Ollie," I broke the silence. She told me she couldn't decide between us. His eyebrows shot up. On app can play me someone at one up still like by him so I'm at sess up some I'm my pie I'm like I'm my pie I'm like I'm my pie and just like that, the dam broke. We swapped stories, her half-truths, her excuses, her contradictory promises. Every detail lined up, every lie overlapped. The picture became crystal clear. She had been stringing us both along, feeding us the same lines to keep us hooked. By the end of the night, there wasn't anger between us. There was understanding. We were both pawns in her game. Neither of us wanted to play anymore. We clinked our glasses, not as rivals, but as two men who had just figured out the truth. What neither of us knew was how she'd react when we showed up together to confront her. Walking out of that bar felt surreal. The night air was cool, but my mind was buzzing. For the first time in months, I wasn't second-guessing myself. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't insecure. I was simply certain. The other guy, let's call him Marcus, walked beside me. We weren't friends, not yet, but there was a quiet respect between us now. We had both been lied to, manipulated, and made to feel like we weren't enough.
Ow.
Neither of us wanted to let her keep that power. "You know," Marcus said as we reached the parking lot, "I almost feel sorry for her. She thinks she's playing us against each other, but all she's done is burn her bridges." I nodded, a wry smile tugging at my lips. She doesn't realize yet, but she will. The plan wasn't complicated. It didn't need to be. We'd show up together, calm, collected, and lay it all out. No screaming, no dramatics, just the truth. The weight of her own lies would do the rest. The next day, I sent her a text. "Hey, I want to see you tonight. Just us. No distractions." Around 7, she replied almost instantly, with a smiley face. "Perfect. I've been meaning to talk to you too." That response told me everything. She probably thought she was about to smooth things over with me, sell me another excuse, maybe buy herself more time to keep us both dangling. What she didn't know was that Marcus would be there too. I won't leave there were nerves. What if she flipped it on us? What if Marcus lost his cool? What if, despite everything, part of me still caved when she looked at me with those pleading eyes? But when I walked into that bar with Marcus right beside me, those doubts faded. We weren't walking in like rivals. We're walking in like two men reclaiming our self-respect. The look on her face when she saw us together was almost worth all the heartache. Her smile faltered instantly, her hand frozen halfway to her glass of wine. "What? What is this?" she stammered. I pulled out a chair. Marcus did the same. We sat across from her like we were conducting an interview. Calm, collected. "This," I said evenly, "is us finally getting the truth together?" Her eyes darted between us, panic rising like a tide. She opened her mouth, but Marcus cut her off smoothly. "No games, no excuses." We compared notes. Every late-night story, every half-truth, every promise you made, they don't add up, not to either of us. Her cheeks flushed. She tried to laugh it off, waving a hand. "You two must be exaggerating. I mean, come on, you're seriously meeting behind my back." I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the table. My voice was calm, almost gentle. "Funny. That's exactly what you've been doing to both of us." The silence that followed was deafening. She had no script for this, no way to juggle both of us at once, and for the first time I saw real fear flicker in her eyes. Her glass rattled as she set it back down on the table, the wine sloshing dangerously close to the rim. She forced a smile, but the mask was cracking. "You guys are being ridiculous," she said, her voice wavering. "So what if I got close to both of you? Care about you both in different ways. Is that really so terrible?" "Right." Marcus let out a short laugh, shaking his head. "Not terrible, no. But lying to us, stringing us along, making promises to both of us at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty bad." Her eyes darted to me, looking for sympathy, the same way she always had when things got tough. "You, of all people, should understand," she said, her voice rising. "Always so insecure, always questioning me. Maybe if you trusted me more, I wouldn't have felt like I had to." I held up a hand, cutting her off. Don't twist this back on me. Insecure is when you imagine things that aren't there. But this is real. You admitted it yourself. You couldn't decide between us. That's not my insecurity. That's your indecision." Her jaw tightened. The panic in her eyes flickered to anger. "So what, you two are just ganging up on me now? That's pathetic." Marcus leaned back in his chair, calm as ever. "No, what's pathetic is thinking you could keep this going forever. Do you think we'd never talk? Never figure it out?" For a moment, she was silent. Her fingers tapped against her glass, faster and faster, until finally she blurted out, "I just didn't want to lose either of you, okay? You both gave me different things, and I—" "Stop," I said sharply. "Listen to yourself. You didn't want to lose us. You never had us. Not really. You were just juggling, hoping we'd both stay blind while you had your fun." The words hit her like a slap. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. "Ow." She sat back, stunned, like she was realizing for the first time that her excuses weren't going to save her. Marcus and I exchanged a glance. There was no anger between us, no competition, just clarity. We weren't enemies. We were survivors of the same storm. I stood, sliding my chair back with deliberate calm. "You wanted a choice? Well, here it is." "Neither of us are choosing you." Marcus rose too, tossing a few bills onto the table for his drink. He looked at her one last time and said, "You lied your way out of both of us. Enjoyed the freedom you were so desperate for." Her face drained of color. She reached out a hand as if she could physically pull us back into her orbit. "Wait," she whispered, her voice breaking. But we didn't wait. We walked out together, two men who'd come in as rivals and left as allies. And the silence we left behind her spoke louder than any words ever could. The night air felt sharp and clean as Marcus and I stepped out of the bar. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel heavy. No more second-guessing, no more twisted words rattling around in my head, just quiet clarity. Marcus exhaled deeply, running a hand through his hair. "Well," he said with a half-smile, "that was satisfying." I couldn't help but chuckle. Yeah, closure has a strange taste. It's bitter, but freeing. We shook hands before parting ways. Not as rivals, but as two men who'd been played and refused to be pawns anymore. I didn't expect us to become friends, but there was respect there, shared understanding. That night, my phone lit up like fireworks. Missed calls, long, rambling texts from her, alternating between apologies and accusations. I was confused. "You'll regret this. You're overreacting. Please, just talk to me for once." I didn't take the bait. I set my phone face down and let the silence speak for me. Over the next week, her desperation grew louder. She showed up at my place unannounced, pounding on the door, mascara streaked from tears. "Just hear me out," she pleaded. I stood behind the door, heart steady, and didn't answer. A day later, I heard from Marcus. She had shown up at his work too, causing a scene in the lobby until security escorted her out. He texted me. "She's spiraling. Guess she finally realizes the game is over." And she was spiraling. Her social media exploded with cryptic posts, song lyrics about betrayal, selfies with forced smiles, captions like, "You don't know what you've lost until it's gone." Friends started reaching out, asking me what had happened, but I kept my answers short. "We figured things out. It's done." The truth was, I didn't owe anyone explanations. Not anymore. With the weight of her lies gone, my days felt lighter. Work didn't feel like a distraction. It felt purposeful. I reconnected with friends I had drifted from during the relationship. I even caught myself laughing more, realizing how much of myself I had given up just to keep her happy. One evening, Marcus and I crossed paths again, this time by chance at the gym. We shared a nod, a brief exchange. "How's freedom treating you?" he asked. "Better than expected," I said with a grin. We didn't dwell on her. We didn't need to. Just the past. And we were already building something better. But even as life moved forward, I knew one thing. She wasn't done trying. Someone who built their world on lies doesn't give up control easily. Sure enough, her final act of desperation was right around the corner. It didn't take long for her final act to surface. One Friday evening, just as I was leaving work, my phone buzzed with a notification. She had tagged me in a post. Against my better judgment, I opened it. It was a picture of the two of us from last year, smiling at some holiday event. The caption read, "Some love stories never really end." My jaw tightened. She wasn't just reaching out privately anymore. She was dragging me into her performance for the world to see. The comments poured in fast. Friends we shared were confused, some even congratulating us for working things out. My phone blew up with texts. "Wait, are you two back together? What's going on?" I knew exactly what she was doing. If she couldn't win me back in private, she'd try to box me in publicly, weaving a narrative that forced me to play along or look like the bad guy for rejecting her. Marcus texted me within minutes. Saw the post. "She's losing it. You need to shut this down." So I did. I called her. She answered on the first ring, her voice sweet, almost triumphant. "Hey, you saw my post?" "Yes," I said flatly. "Take it down," she gasped, as if I'd just insulted her. "Why? It's a nice picture. People love us together. Maybe this is a sign we should stop," I cut in. "We're done. You don't get to rewrite the story. Take it down or I'll correct it myself." Her voice hardened instantly. You wouldn't dare. But she underestimated me. That night, I posted a short, direct message. To clear the confusion, she and I are not together. The relationship ended because of dishonesty. Please respect my privacy moving forward. It wasn't vindictive. It wasn't dramatic. Just the truth. The fallout was swift. Comments turned from congratulations to shock. Friends who had suspected something finally pieced the puzzle together. And her silence online spoke volumes. Later that night, she showed up at my apartment again. This time, her tone wasn't pleading. It was furious. "How could you humiliate me like that?" she snapped. "Do you know how many people messaged me? You made me look crazy." I stared at her calmly. "You didn't need my help with that." Her eyes flashed, and for a moment I thought she might actually lash out. But then her shoulders slumped, her voice breaking into a whisper. I didn't think you'd really walk away." I shook my head. "That's the problem. You thought I'd always be there, no matter what lies you told. But I'm done being your backup plan." She looked at me like a stranger, realizing the control she once had was gone. And without a word, she turned and left. It should have been the end. But I knew better. People like her don't fade quietly, they crash. The weeks that followed felt strangely quiet. After months of her chaos circling my life, the silence was almost unnerving. But calm has a way of settling in once you cut out the noise. Then, one night, Marcus messaged me. "She's at it again. Just thought you should know." He attached a screenshot of another long social media rant. This time it was darker. She accused me of betraying her, of ruining her life, painting herself as the victim of two heartless men who conspired against her. The comments were divided. Some people sympathized, but others called her out, reminding her that honesty had consequences. It was clear. The sympathy she once manipulated so easily was drying up. Instead of anger, I felt pity. She was unraveling, and there was nothing left for me to do but step back and let her face the fallout of her own choices. A few days later, I saw her in person for the last time. It wasn't planned. I was at a cafe, laptop open, enjoying a rare, slow morning. She walked in, hair messy, eyes tired. The moment she spotted me, her face flickered with something between hope and desperation. She walked over cautiously, like someone approaching a fragile bridge. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I studied her for a long moment before nodding. "Go ahead." She sat down, fidgeting with her sleeve. For once, she didn't try to charm or manipulate. Her voice was low, almost defeated. "I messed up. I didn't want to choose because I thought if I kept you both, I'd never have to feel empty. But now I have nothing." The honesty was late, but real. Still, it didn't change the truth. "You don't have nothing," I said. "You just don't have us. And maybe that's what you need to finally see yourself without someone propping you up." Her eyes welled. But I didn't flinch. This wasn't my burden anymore. I stood, gathering my things. "I hope you figure it out. But I won't be part of it." She nodded slowly, understanding at last that this wasn't a game she could win back. As I walked out, I didn't feel anger or sadness or even triumph. I felt free. That evening, Marcus and I crossed paths again, pure coincidence, at a bookstore. He smirked when he saw me. "She's finally burned out, huh?" "Yeah," I said with a small laugh. "Guess she learned the hard way that you can't juggle people forever." We shared a brief conversation. It's nothing deep, but enough to confirm what I already knew. Life had moved on. In the end, the story wasn't about losing her. It was about finding myself again, the version of me that didn't doubt, didn't chase, didn't settle for half-truths. And the best part? When I finally closed that chapter, I realized something powerful. Sometimes walking away isn't the end of the story. Sometimes it's the start of the one you were meant to live. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.